Okay, so now I'm going to use some tips, and I'm not going to use my nail tips because my nail tips are already pre-shaped. But I'm going to show you guys how to shape the tips because that's very important. We is in 2022, so you really don't have to shape, but that's something that you need to know how to do. So I'm going to show you how to shape the tips, so stay tuned. Okay, so with tips, you just have to make sure that you're putting your tips sidewall to sidewall. So I'm going to do my thumbs first. See how that fits sidewall to sidewall? Then you just want to get you some glue, and I use KDS glue. And then you want to hold it there for a few seconds before lifting up. Sometimes when you lift up too fast, the tip isn't going to adhere to the natural nail. So it's not gonna work. So give it a minute, see? Sidewall to sidewall. And you want to just continue that with all of the nails. Your thumb normally is a 0, 1, 2. Your thumb normally is a 0, 1, 2. This finger, these 3 fingers is normally like a 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. And your pinky is like a 7, 8, 9, 10. So once you start to know that, it'll be easier for you. And I normally use these tips right here for my practice. And I have to put my tips on this way to make sure that they're straight. See, I put it this way to make sure that it's straight. Also, make sure you flip your client's nail this way to make sure that their tips are straight, because sometimes you can put their tips on this way and their tips are not going to be straight. So I hate a crooked nail. I hate it. I hate it. You only need a little bit of glue, y'all. You don't need a whole bunch of glue. Remember that it's sidewall to sidewall. Hold it there. This way you can make sure that it's straight. Straight. You just want to continue that your rest of your nails. Like I said, I use pre-shape. I use tips that's already shaped. You know what I'm saying? I already went through the process of learning how to shape, so now I just use tips that's already. I think I'm gonna give my nails a break. I think I need to apply some tea tree oil on my nails. You see that red spot? Probably because I use that bit to file down too far, and I damage my damn nails. So see that everything is sidewall to sidewall. Don't mind that. Oh, that's because I use that. See how this one isn't damaged, but these ones are. That's because I use that drill to damage. But you want to make sure that your tips are sidewall to sidewall. And then when you're shaping it, just say I want to keep this this shape. These 3 nails are supposed to be the same length. So you want to make sure that these 3 are the same. Your pinky is supposed to be the same length too, but you know, you can just eyeball it. But always make sure that these 3 are the same length. See, I would have to cut it a little bit to make it even. Like I say, I use KDS glue. Okay. So I do have some stork scissors that I use, and I also use a straight edge nail clipper. The reason why I use a straight edge nail clipper is because it is straight. It do have that little stopper piece in there. So I can just, I can't use it with these tips because these tips don't fit in there. But if I had some more slimmer tips, I would be able to just push it in there and be like, okay, well, this first cut is going to give me a long, and then this next cut is going to give me a medium. That's how I was able to determine my length like that. Now I just eyeball it. You know, I've been doing it so long. I know my medium, my long, and my extra long. So now I'm just going to cut it. I think I'm going to cut this just... I think I'm going to leave these a little longer. So I'm going to do this one like this. I'm going to do this one. Cut it just a little bit. I may do my pinky stiletto. So when you do stiletto, you want to cut from the number in the shape of a stiletto. So you want to cut, make sure you cut all of that to your sidewall. A lot of people just cut like right there. No, why are you just cutting that? You have to cut all that off. You have to cut all of this off. Cut it as close as you can to the shape. And then you're just going to use your your hand file to just get the shape. But you want to cut it as close as you can to the shape. So I'm going to do this one square. I'm going to do this one tapered square. Or I might do this one coffin. Coffin, you want to clip the sides, because it has to look coffin-y. You normally want to clip all of the sides, but I'm just going to clip that much. And then I'm going to do this one. I'm going to just cut some of this side off, because I don't like all this extraness on the side. I'm going to just cut that off. And then I might do this one. I'm gonna do this one like that. Okay. All right, and I'm going to be using my SN100 nail grit file. Now, when you're filing, you want to make sure that your file is straight up against the nail. So now I showed y'all shape. I showed y'all prep. Now we're getting into the file. So when you're filing, you want to make sure that your file is straight up against your nail like this. You don't want your file to be like this unless you're filing underneath your nail. If you're filing underneath your nail, your file should also still be straight, and you should be filing from your sidewall to your free edge. Your sidewall, your free edge. But when you're filing the sides, you need to make sure that your file is straight up against the nail like this. And file. Have some support, making sure that you're pulling that skin back, making sure that your file is like this and not like this. You should have no disconnect in your file when you're filing. Your file should be connected to the nail at all times, and your file should be straight up against the nail. When you're filing this way, the same thing. Your file should be straight up against the nail. Straight. Same thing. File should be straight up against the nail. Have some support, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that you're either supporting your own nails or making sure that you're supporting your client's nails. Making sure that your file is straight up against the nail. Straight up. Okay, I think this one is going to be more coffin-y. So because this is going to be more coffin-y, I'm not going to have this straight. I'm going to angle it like this because I have to get that arch. So coffin goes like this. Coffin is not straight. So now I have to, instead of making it harder for me, I am just going to cut it some more. Now you want to make sure that you're holding your file at an angle, but making sure that it's still straight. You want to make sure that you're holding it at an angle now and not like this. So because I was doing it straight before, it's like this, but because I want it at an angle, you see the difference? Your file now has to be like this versus like this. If you want it straight, then you go like this. If you're trying to get a coffin, then you want to have your file at an angle. And this is what I want. I want my file to be at an angle because I want a coffin shape. But as you can see, it's still straight up against. You also want to turn it to make sure that it's straight. I fucked it up a little bit, but I'll fix it. See that? It's a little uneven right there. And it's kind of hard to do it with teaching y'all, but okay, so this one I want to be a straight. So this one is going to be more coffin-y, and I'm gonna fix this because I did cut it too much on the side. This one is going to be a straight square. So again, you just want to hold your file straight up against and file. Hold your file straight up against, no disconnect, and file. If you don't want it to be too square like that, then you just keep filing it. The more you file, the narrower it's going to be. I don't really worry about my tips because I don't worry about my the free edge because I try to keep the shape, and I worry about that at the end. So now that you want to do stiletto, so you still want to make sure that your file is straight, but now you have to angle your file like this. Your file isn't going to be straight up and down anymore. Now your file has to be at an angle. And remember, you still have to be from the sidewall to the free edge. So your file should be like this with no disconnect. You are going to have a disconnect at this part, but that's because it's a stiletto. But your file should be now at an angle like this because you're trying to get a different angle. But you need to make sure that you still have your file straight up against the nail. And then you need to remember that whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. And I just have to get my angle, so I just have to hold my hand a funny kind of way. See, now I'm getting the remember, when you're filing, you just want to get your shape as close to. You don't want to spend too much time on your shaping because remember, you still have to come back in and shape once you're finished. You just want to get it as perfect or as close to the shape as you can. Remember, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. And there we have it. So we have a lipstick. We have lipstick, we have coffin, we have square, we have stiletto. And I'm going to do this one square. Make sure that your file is straight, that you're filing from your sidewall to your free edge. See, my file is straight up against. See how you can see that? You see the sides? This is how you know that your file is straight up against that. You see that? That lets me know that my file is straight up against my nail. When you file this way, you still have to make sure that your file is straight. Remember, everything that we do have to be with a purpose, y'all. You have to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Like I said, I don't really file that much this way because I don't be trying to lose my length. But I just want you to see that whatever you do, it has to be straight. You see that? That's how you know you're filing straight up against. That's how you know you're filing straight up against. If you're not filing straight up against, it's going to show you. So remember, that's when you file, your file should be connected at all times like this. No disconnect, straight up against the nail. Okay, now you can take your hand file and you can go across and you can file down. I don't like to do that because I have an e-file, so I'm going to use my e-file. Using my same sanding band that I used earlier, I'm going to turn my e-file on maybe like a 6, and I'm just going to lightly blend my tip with my natural nail, and then I'm just going to remove all of the dust from my tip. That's literally all you have to do. You just want to blend it a little bit. You don't have to refile your natural nail. Just blend it and remove all of the shine from your tip. You want to do the same thing. A light blend. Remove all of the shine from your tip. A light blend. Remove all of the shine from your tip. A light blend. Ooh, you gotta be careful there, boy. I don't mess up my nail. Remove all of the shine from the tip. And you want to dust off.